Today, we're going to crack open an ancient text to solve a mystery that feels like it's straight out of a detective novel. It's a story about an impossible conversation, a witness who shouldn't have been there, and a clue that was hiding in plain sight for centuries. So let's dive right into the case of the Talmud's ghost.
And that's really the heart of it, isn't it? We're going to investigate a passage in a foundational Jewish text where a really famous scholar seems to be talking with his teacher who had been dead for years. So, is this a supernatural event, a simple mistake, or is there something else going on entirely? All right, so to really get what's happening here, we first need to step into the world of our story. We're talking about the bustling rabbinic academies of ancient Babylonia.
Now, the text at the center of all this is the Talmud. And it's not a single book written by one person. A better way to think of it is like the super detailed minutes of a debate that went on for hundreds and hundreds of years. Sages would discuss things, they'd argue, and they'd build on the ideas of the people who came before them. It's this amazing conversation across generations.
Okay, so let's get our key players straight, because the timeline is everything in this case. You've got two great scholars, Abaye and his colleague Rava, and their student is a guy named Rav Pappa. Now, pay close attention to the dates here. Rav Pappa only starts his own academy after his teachers have already passed away. This is a crucial piece of the puzzle. Remember that.
And this brings us to the scene of the crime, so to speak. We're looking at a specific passage in the Talmud where this timeline we just established seems to completely fall apart. So let's just picture it for a second. We're in the Academy of Naresh. Rav Pappa isn't some young student anymore. He's this highly respected scholar, probably in his 50s. He's the head of his own school, and he's surrounded by his own pupils. And his famous teachers, Abaye and Rava, they've been gone for years.
And then, boom, right in the middle of a discussion that he's having with his students, the text just drops this line on us. Rav Pappa said to Abaye. Just like that. Suddenly, Abaye, his long-dead teacher, is right there in the room, part of the conversation.
This is the core of the problem. I mean, how is this possible? According to our own timeline, this conversation just can't happen. Rav Pappa is in his own academy. It's way after Abaye's death, so who or what is he talking to?
Okay, so the first logical thought you might have is, well, maybe the location is just wrong, right? Maybe the text is just remembering a conversation from when Rav Pappa was a young man in Abaye's school. But that theory, it hits a brick wall, fast. The text is very clear that Rav Pappa is responding to the sages before him, which is a phrase that indicates he's talking to his own students. So the context locks us in. He's an established teacher, not a student. Our first lead just went cold.
Now, when a historical account seems totally impossible, a good detective doesn't just give up. Nope, they start looking at the evidence itself. Maybe it's been tampered with. Maybe there are errors. So let's shift gears and see where this new line of thinking takes us.
And this is the pivot, the big aha moment. What if the story isn't about a ghost at all? What if it's about a typo? What if the document itself got corrupted somewhere over the hundreds of years of being copied and printed?
You know, in Talmudic scholarship, this kind of work actually has a name. It's called checking the girza. And it basically means hunting down all the different manuscript versions and early printings of the same text you can find just to see if they all say the exact same thing. It's how scholars dust for textual fingerprints.
The Talmud is great because it often talks about the same topic in a few different places. So our investigators' next move is obvious. Find those other parallel passages. It's kind of like finding other witnesses who were at the same event and asking them, hey, what did you see?
And when our detectives compare the texts, they find their breakthrough. It turns out that for centuries, we've all been the victims of a really, really old game of broken telephone.
And here it is, the smoking gun. In our mystery text, the one we've been looking at, it says Rav Pappa spoke le'Abaye, which means to Abaye. But in the parallel texts, it says he spoke lehim, which means to them. To them, his students. All of a sudden, the ghost just vanishes. The conversation makes perfect, logical, chronological sense.
We can actually trace pretty clearly how this happened. The original text almost certainly had Rav Pappa speaking to them, but then, probably during an early printing way back in the 1500s, a simple scribal error, maybe just because the letters looked similar, changed to them into to Abaye. Fast forward a few centuries to the 1800s, and a later printer sees this, thinks another word nearby must be a mistake, and corrects it to match the first error. And just like that, the ghost was cemented in the text.
So, mystery solved. Our ghost wasn't some supernatural visitor. It was a phantom created by nothing more than ink and human error, and it was haunting the pages of the Talmud for almost 500 years.
But is that really it? Case closed? Well, not quite, because this isn't just a fun piece of historical trivia. Solving this one tiny puzzle actually reveals something much, much bigger about how we should read and understand these ancient texts.
You see, this one case shows us that these foundational texts, they aren't perfect static objects that just fell out of the sky. They are living documents with a very human history. They were copied by hand, they were set and typed by printers, and they were passed down through generations of people who, just like us, sometimes made mistakes. To really understand them, you have to do this careful detective work, because as we've just seen, the smallest detail can change the entire story.
And that's the real takeaway here, isn't it? This investigation proves that by paying incredibly close attention to the evidence right there on the page, by using a scholarly magnifying glass, we can solve ancient puzzles, we can correct the record, and we can get a much clearer picture of the past. The truth, a lot of the time, is hiding right there in the details.